T-shirt featuring the team's colors and logo. All revenue from the LA Strong T-shirts will go to the American Red Cross and the Los Angeles Fire Department Foundation to help with relief efforts in response to the wildfires in LA County. The T-shirts are available on each team's website. The Lakers and Clippers are back in action tonight with home games. The Lakers, trying to snap a 3-game losing streak, are playing Miami at Crypto.com. The Lakers won't have to deal with Jimmy Butler. He's serving a 7-game suspension for conduct detrimental to the team. The Clippers are playing Brooklyn tonight at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. The Clippers have moved up to 5th place in the Western Conference. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is for all the folks who appreciate follow-through. Here's a quick recap of the KBLA Talk 1580 2024 Climate Justice Campaign. More than 6.4 million Southern Californians viewed our climate justice billboards and bus shelters. Another 1.5 million people listened to and or downloaded our weekly conversations with African American climate experts. Our KBLA Climate Justice web portal had 2.8 million unique visitors. Thousands more attended our 7 climate justice community events. More than 9.3 million riders saw our climate care messaging on metro buses and trains. And 39 million Americans accessed our C-SPAN Climate Justice Symposium. All told, our 2024 Climate Justice Campaign exceeded 471 million total impressions. KBLA Talk 1580 thanks all of our 2024 Climate Justice partners: LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, Sierra Club, California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, LA City Council member Curran D. Price Jr., the California Wellness Foundation, MWD, AQMD, and the Port of Los Angeles. Caring about the climate, caring about the community, changing the conversation. We're KBLA Talk 1580. 1580.
We going. My pants poster said, we going ultra. Yeah. We going ultra black. I got a toast to that. We don't fold the crack. We going. Occasion we rose to that, going postal. We going ultra black, watching the global change, hopping the coldest range. Hit boy on the beat, this poster slap. We going ultra black. We going. Rhythm and blues, pop, rock, soul to jazz, till my toes attack. How I look being told, I'm not supposed to brag. Nobody fault, I tell the truth, I know it's facts. We ultra black, gray stone, skin tone, but multi that. Multiple colors, we coming all shades, mocha black. Except where I'm at and not fight me on it. Emotional stares like I might be wanted. Pitch black like the night, I'm ultra black. Sanford and Son reruns, jokes are black. Oh yes, God bless success. We going ultra black, like the S is fast. Hawk with a mask on, the freshest breath. African black soap, caress the flesh. Super fly the Mac, sitting fly in the lack. Take the boat on the water, history talks with my daughter.
Maybe I should just let Nas and Hit Boy do the show. Yes, that's a little inspiration for your morning. So I'm happy to welcome in somebody new for me, maybe not new to you. She is an NAACP award nominee for Dark Girls. She's from Baltimore. Got a BFA from NYU and an MFA in producing from the American Film Institute. She's based in LA. A production manager, line producer, and producer. She's worked on countless film, TV, and digital projects, including 16 independent features. Cheryl Bedford, welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for calling in, and hopefully one day soon we'll meet face to face. So we started out I started out really wanting to talk about Black women in Hollywood, and I always want to have that lens on the conversation, but given where we are at this moment in time and your extensive knowledge of the industry, you've taught the art of line producing at UCLA, you have your own company, Cheryl Bedford Productions. You judge at festivals. This moment that we're in right now seems very perilous for an industry that was already on the ropes after the, I believe, streamers and studios were retaliating against us for going on strike and holding strong in our solidarity, or SAG-AFTRA, and the below-the-line unions as well, Writers Guild. How do you see it?
Let's not be mistaken. Between the pandemic, where we saw a lot of independent companies go under, then we had all of the strikes, right? SAG-AFTRA and the writers' strike. And now we have these devastating fires. Like, we're definitely taking a hit year after year after year. It's a lot right now. I also am the founder of Women of Color Unite. We're the largest nonprofit of women of color and non-binary people of color in entertainment. I have over 6,000 members.
Yes, I was planning to get to that because I wanted to pivot to talking about, women in the industry. But yeah, go ahead with what you were saying. I wasn't overlooking that. I just wanted to start with where we are right now.
Yeah, and not a problem. My point is that we're the most marginalized. And I always say, when we talk about marginalization, remember, we're not born marginalized. We're pushed to the margins. So we're the, last hired, first fired. We make less money. All of those things that come into play absolutely makes it harder right now for us. One of my members, Desiree, lost her home in the Altadena fires.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, we're trying hard to support our membership right now. I actually, in our newsletter yesterday and then this morning, I posted a whole bunch of resources for those. And absolutely, I'm just going to say it, with a focus on the Eaton fire, right? With everything that is happening in Altadena, Pasadena, Sierra Madre, with these historically Black homes that are no longer there. It is absolutely devastating right now. So, yeah, we've taken hit after hit after hit. It's a lot.
Yeah. And since you're reminding me, we'll be broadcasting from Altadena, Pasadena tomorrow. We'll be at the Pasadena Church from 6 to 9. All are welcome. We'll be talking with community organizers, Black-led efforts, and impacted families and individuals. And we're going to be there. Sierra Madre Villa, it's 450, and the East Campus will be in the sanctuary, and we'll be live broadcasting. And it's interesting because I knew there were Black folks in Pasadena, Cheryl Bedford, but I didn't know how many of them I knew that were in Altadena. I have stopped counting the number of people I know and friends and colleagues that lived there and lost everything. It's just overwhelming.
It is extremely overwhelming. So what we're doing is getting together all of the resources as they come in. There's an artist survey from Los Angeles Performance Practice. Etienne Maurice, Cheryl Lee Ralph's son, he has his nonprofit, Walk Good LA, and there's a form on his Instagram if you need help. Obviously, the California Black Women's Collective Empowerment Institute, run by Kelly Todd Griffin, their focus is absolutely on the Eaton fire. They're doing a fundraiser. They've started the fundraiser by donating $10,000. Array has a list of resources for those that are impacted. So I am just trying to get out all of that information. People ask me, they're like, why don't you guys have a fundraiser? I'm like, no, there are already people who are set up for that. I think that our job isn't like to just get in between and go, oh, we're going to have our own fundraiser. Like, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. I just want to support those who were up and running and already doing the work. So please check out all of the resources that I just mentioned.
I think that's a great point. We don't all have to do our own project. We can hop on board. There are lots of Black-led efforts, and it does seem from the conversations I've had that right now money is actually the number one thing, because people, especially from the Eaton fire, are scattered. They're not necessarily there in Altadena to receive clothing or food, and they don't necessarily have anywhere to put that clothing or food at the moment.
Exactly. And so it really boils down to money. So if anybody can donate, I've been posting on my socials, across the country, around the world, people want to know. That is the best thing, excuse me, is just to support those, like the California Black Women's Collective and Walk Good LA and all of those that are already established, up and running, doing the work. And so, it's a lot. Like, Cali is hurting. Let's just be honest. I do think that we will absolutely be able to recover. Governor Newsom has put nearly $1 billion towards our tax incentive.
For the entertainment industry, yeah.
Yeah, for our tax incentive to bring production back to California. There is a DEI component of that. We are actually working with the California Film Commission, and we'll be hosting a Zoom on January 22nd at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So, you can go to our website and request information there. And I can, send out the Zoom link. I don't post Zoom links, obviously, on our socials, because we know what happened during the pandemic, where those who wanted to cause harm would come in and say some really racist, sexist things. So we do vet you, but yes, we are actually hosting a Zoom. So those are the types of things that we want to do, is just support organizations that are doing it and focus on putting as much money in the hands of the marginalized here within the entertainment industry.
Right. So you mentioned that you're posting a lot of stuff on your socials that folks can, take advantage of if they need help, or can contribute to if they have something to give. Why don't you share your socials?
Sure. So I do not control the socials for Women of Color Unite. We keep that separate from my personal, just to keep them separate.
Right.
But our organization is WOCU Unite.org across the socials. We are not on X. We left. But on Instagram and Spottable and other places. And then I am Cheryl, my first name, CHERYL_CLBP. We have been posting, starting today, once I got all of the resources together.
Yeah, it is a lot. And I can hear it in your voice. Cheryl L. Bedford is my guest. She's quite active in this industry with 16 independent films under her belt, and she's the founder of Women of Color Unite. I want to talk about where we are in this moment, what that recovery looks like, and how we hold the line in this moment and in general as women specifically and Black people in general in this industry. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is an intervention. When we come forward, includes you. KBLA Talk 1580, turning pain into power.
We gon' be alright.
KBLA Talk 1580 is amplifying Black voices and spotlighting our untold stories. I'm Dominique DiPrima. Join me Thursday from 6 to 9 a.m. as we broadcast live from the Altadena, Pasadena area. Due to the National Guard closing down this section, we will not be at Perry's Joint. Our new location is the Pasadena Church East Campus at 425 Sierra Madre Villa. We'll be covering the individuals and families impacted by the Altadena Eaton fire. Hear from community leaders and those who have suffered losses that must not be forgotten. So join us Thursday at the Pasadena Church East Campus at 425 Sierra Madre Villa. Together we can help them rebuild and recover. Together we are LA Strong, LA United. With your friends at KBLA Talk 1580.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code TOOL for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code TOOL for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code TOOL.
Somebody's been praying for me.
Thanks to the generous support of the KBLA Talk 1580 delegation, we were able to donate 545 pounds of coats and blankets to the LA Mission this winter season.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
The LA Mission expressed its deep gratitude for our gift all over social media, but we wish to thank them and all the other service providers who look out daily for the less fortunate in our community, finding our happy by being helpful.
Hallelujah.
We're KBLA Talk 1580, where we do more than just talk.
Somebody's been praying for me.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Talking with Cheryl L. Bedford and taking a look at, what the position of Black people, your organization, Women of Color, Unite, people of color in general, Black people in particular, in Hollywood, even in the best of times, is not amazing. It's certainly gotten better since I arrived here many years ago, and since we were kids growing up, waiting for any one Black film to be nominated for anything, anywhere. But it still continues to be a place that is not particularly welcoming to Black women on the screen or behind the scenes. Lay that out if you would, because I know this is a lot of the work that you do.
Wow. Where to start?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and it really is that, right? The system was never set up for us, but what capitalist system is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I was coming up, it was, doing all of these internships for free. Well, who's going to pay my rent? Right? Who's going to put food on my table?
Right.
And that's what I mean. It was never set up for us, right? It was set up for those whose parents could afford to take care of them while they receive the necessary, the steps to work your way up, which is one of the reasons I became an independent filmmaker. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. I'm not doing this. But I remember, I remember going to those sorts of, interviews and being like, so what's the pay? They're like, pay. I'm like, any kind of stipend? You pay on my gas, you pay on my lunch. Let me tell you what we're not going to do today. And then all of the programs that were designed for us, and let me just say, I'm not a fan. And I've never been a fan. So I always tell this story, right? So when I graduated from the American Film Institute, at that time, before you had the MBAs take over and it was more the MFAs, and there was, a way to get into the studio system and work your way up and so forth and so on. So I would send out my resume. Now, because of what we now know as, internal bias, nobody expected my black little face to show up. And as soon as I remember this, and this is the thing, I remember the last time it happened to me, not the first time. So it was, went in for an interview. It was Disney, and it was an entry-level executive position, which is basically what happened, especially if you went to the top film schools in the country, right? And so, but I walked in, and they immediately canceled the interview and handed me a form for their diversity, right? And they're like, "Oh, this is the program we have." And I'm looking at them like, but I came in for an interview, so I'm not going to get the interview. You're going to hand me a diversity form. And I remember walking to the parking lot, and I'm reading it, before anything was online or whatever. I graduated from the American Film Institute in 1993. And let us not forget, when I graduated from AFI, there were less than 200 people in the world with a master's degree from AFI, let alone I'd already done NYU undergrad film and television, right? So I'm just going to say it. I was one of the best of the best. I mean, I
super extra qualified, right, ready.
So I remember reading the form that they had handed me. And it was something like choosing, I don't know, I think at the time like 20, 25 people for this program, knowing that thousands of people were going to apply. And I ripped it up because it's what Daryl L. Hughley said at one point, which is, if you don't want me to act like crab in a barrel, stop putting me in a barrel.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to describe it. I mean, he said it years later, but I remember reading it. I'm like, so you want me to fight my people for these 25 spots? Like you want me to fight? And I'm like, that's not what I'm going to do. And I thought to myself, as I'm walking through the parking lot at Disney, if I ever get the opportunity to change things, I will. And so that was one of my focuses, but still my focus when I started Women of Color Unite, is to get rid of this idea that somehow we have to compete with each other and every other marginalized group, right? So for a lot of these programs, 5,000 people apply for 25 spots.
Yeah.
And Hollywood, let's tell the truth. Half, if not more, of those spots are actually already taken up. They are taken up by friends, kids, daughters, nieces, nephews, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Hollywood, tell the truth. And then I actually started reading studies from the National Institute of Health and the kind of damage that those types of programs do when you have this overwhelming number of who apply over and over and over and over and over again. And not only when you apply, right, because most of these companies want to break their arms, patting themselves on the back, as my mama would say, that they want the po little black me, right? They want you to lay bare the trauma. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, okay. So, and if that's your story, that's fine. But the idea of making us compete against each other, putting out the worst trauma that we have ever had, because, right, they want to break their arms, patting themselves in the back, acting like they're doing something. And then there was something that I always knew, and it came out a few years ago. And that was, who sees those stories? Who sees those trauma stories? Who sees that? And it came out that one of the studios was passing them around, all the execs. Like that, I'm like, y'all just can't be trusted. You just can't be trusted. So I'm not a fan of the way that they are set up. I'm not saying that there is a way to do it, right? And one of the things that we have is start with 8. which is we call it a mentorship program, but for us, really, it's more of a networking. And we started it during the pandemic. My co-founder, Mananda Reaper, who's been volunteering with us for years. And basically what we did during the pandemic when everybody was sitting at home and during the protest was this. You have to do one substantial thing for 8 women of color. And all we did was ask the people who signed up for it, what is it that you need? What is that thing, right, that can get you to the next level? It could be anywhere from people starting up, help me with my resume, or writing a cover letter for those starting out. For other people was read a script. And then for the people who signed up for it, what is that one thing that you will do, right? And all we did was match them. You didn't have to tell us your trauma stories, because here's the thing. It's about making people think that you were worthy, right? And I'm here to tell, especially my people, we were born worthy. We don't have to prove our humanity. We don't have to prove our worth. So for our program, for our members, there wasn't any it was just, what do you need? Tell us something about yourself so that we can match you with that person. And each person at the time got 2 mentors. As time has faded and people went back to work and all of those things and people left, now it's 1 mentor. But at the time, it was 2 mentors. And just because people can be performative, but we have had, people from so many studios, executives who wanted to do something who actually just didn't know how. And Gregory Zide, who sits on our board, and he is our treasurer, came up, and as a white male, came up with the saying, exclusion by familiarity. Didn't go to school with any, don't live near any, don't play golf with any. Because one of the things that we realize is that there are people who actually do want to help. They don't know where to get started because of exclusion by familiarity. And we were there to help them, right? To help these people who have some type of privilege use it and be matched. And we've had some wonderful matches and success stories and people getting their films distributed. We've gotten, because of some of our mentors, a whole bunch of people ended up joining the Writers Guild of America. And we did it without causing trauma, right? Yeah. We did it without people having to prove their worth. Because basically every day that we get up as Black people, we got to prove our worth.
Right. So the organization is called Women of Color Unite. You can find them at WOCUnite.org, WOCUnite.org. We're just seconds away from news, traffic, and sports. So we'll continue this conversation on the other side. Saying all that to say, we've already, had to fight our way in and facing all of these obstacles. And now organizations such as Cheryl L. Bedford's are even more important, because as we rebuild, we cannot find this as an excuse for further exclusion of us. And I've certainly heard that from executives in all levels of entertainment. Well, we can't find any qualified applicants. Well, that's one place to start, WOCUnite.org. News, traffic, and sports, then more exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. The Los Angeles wildfire's death toll has risen to at least 25. The Palisades fire has claimed 9 lives, and the Eden fire around Altadena has caused 16 deaths. Senators continue questioning President-elect Trump's cabinet picks. Pam Bondi, former Florida Attorney General, is up for Attorney General, and Senator Marco Rubio is up for Secretary of State. Former First Lady Michelle Obama will not attend President-elect Trump's inauguration next week with no explanation given. Former President Obama will attend. Michelle Obama also missed former President Carter's funeral last week. And Wall Street had a mixed close after a volatile session. The Producer Price Index showed a slight rise in wholesale inflation. The Dow gained 221 points, the S&P 500 rose 6 points, and the Nasdaq fell 43 points. I'm Bree Wood on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
Your local Staples has hot deals and super low prices throughout the store on everything for your business. And right now at Staples, save up to $175 off your print order. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details. Ends 2/1. Plus, save even more with the Easy Rewards program at Staples.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The 16 sports teams in Los Angeles, including the new TGL golf team sponsored by Tiger Woods, have joined together to sell LA Strong t-shirts. Each team is marketing the t-shirt featuring the team's colors and logo. All revenue from the LA Strong t-shirts will go to the American Red Cross and the Los Angeles Fire Department Foundation to help with relief efforts in response to the wildfires in LA County. The t-shirts are available on each team's website. The Lakers and Clippers are back in action tonight with home games. The Lakers, trying to snap a 3-game losing streak, are playing Miami at Crypto.com. The Lakers won't have to deal with Jimmy Butler. He's serving a 7-game suspension for conduct detrimental to the team. The Clippers are playing Brooklyn tonight at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. The Clippers have moved up to 5th place in the Western Conference. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
The holidays can be a time of increased stress for those struggling with opioid or stimulant addiction. They can also be a time for pause, reflection, opportunity, and new beginnings. This holiday season, choose treatment and recovery, embrace the company of family and friends, and create special moments. Find a proven opioid or stimulant addiction treatment provider near you at choosechangeca.org.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands with you in tough times, connecting you with resources and what you need to know. Evacuation shelters are located in the Pasadena Civic Center, the Dream Center in LA, the Westwood Recreation Center, and many more. You can call 311 for details. Santa Anita Park in Arcadia is a pop-up mutual aid hub where you can pick up anything from clothing to food and hygiene supplies. If you're in Los Angeles County and in need of food, call Omni Ministries at 310-631-1557. Donations can be made to Zelle, Omni Ministries, Inc. at yahoo.com. Parking Lot I outside of Rose Bowl Stadium is a pop-up mutual aid hub where you can pick up everything from clothing to food to hygiene supplies for free. To volunteer or donate to help victims of the fire, contact the LA Emergency Network at enla.org. The Cochran Firm and Ivy McNeil, Wyatt Purcell and Diggs, Jazz Mechanic, and others have launched a GoFundMe specifically targeting Altadena. Visit LA Fires. The impacted Black community urgently needs help on GoFundMe, and donate to help Black evacuees fighting for survival. Airbnb is offering free temporary housing to people displaced by the fires. Call 211 to sign up. The LA Chamber of Commerce is stepping up to help you sort out insurance claims and other paperwork. Reach them at 213-580-7500. South LA Cafe has free groceries, clothing, and water available at 1700 Browning Boulevard in LA. Track their giveaways or volunteer through their Instagram at South LA Cafe. U-Haul is donating short-term storage free of charge for 30 days to evacuees. Shelter for small or large animals can be accessed by calling 211. A Black-led coalition of community organizations is offering support and resources in the Altadena area at the Flint Ridge Center at 236 West Mountain Street in Pasadena. For comprehensive lists of resources for housing, food, shelter, and more, visit Mutual Aid LA Network on Instagram. Praying for LA and standing with you. KBLA Talk 1580.
Attention Los Angeles County renters and landlords. Starting January 1st, 2025, there are new rules limiting rent increases for rent-stabilized units in unincorporated LA County. Most rent-stabilized units will have rent increases capped at 2.565% from January through June 2025, with exceptions for qualified small property landlords and luxury units. To learn more about the new changes, visit rent.lacounty.gov. This message is brought to you by Los Angeles County Department of Consumer and Business Affairs.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio, KBLA Talk 1580.
And we appreciate you. We are standing with you, and we will be broadcasting, as the spot said, tomorrow. Wow, it's tomorrow. From the Altadena, Pasadena area. The place is called the Pasadena Church. That's the name of it. It's the East Campus, and we'll be broadcasting from the sanctuary, so I guess we'll be doing some praying too. What I'm really looking forward to, because we have an amazing group of community leaders and organizations, grassroots efforts, as well as people who have been impacted in all kinds of crazy ways. We have an historian coming who can tell us more about the background of Altadena. It's going to be a great gathering, and all are welcome. Come on in, have a seat at the church, and let's do some stuff. And some folks have taken it upon themselves to gather supplies and drop them off, and the church is ready to receive your donations. They are actually a distribution hub, so God works in mysterious ways. Our original site was cordoned off by the National Guard, so we will be at the church, and the church just happens to be a distribution center, so your donations are welcome there, although like many sites, they are not receiving used clothing, but just about anything else, hygiene items, food, money, especially gift cards, and that kind of stuff is greatly appreciated. Continuing our conversation now with Cheryl Bedford. She is an NAACP Award nominee for Dark Girls. She's the founder of Women of Color Unite. It's a 501c3 with the purpose of helping women of color get hired, get their projects funded, get distribution, which is another huge obstacle for many. And you are, I understand, 6,000 strong at this point?
Yes. First of all, Dominic, I want to tell you the fact that you're going to do the broadcast tomorrow. That so warms my heart. We just got to be there for each other. But yes, so first of all, congratulations just for doing that work and getting out there, and the community leaders and all of that. Because even though we're 6,000 strong, a lot of people don't know that Black women and women of color who run nonprofits by us, for us, only receive, wait for it, 0.5% of all grant and foundation money.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's stunning.
0.5%, right? It used to be 2, then it was 1.6, now it's 0.5%. The Ms. Foundation out of New York actually put out a study regarding that. It is called Pocket Change. And then they put out Pocket Change 2.0, which talked about the mental health damage that, we suffer from trying to do the work on no money. And also, even with those little bit of funds that we get, we are expected to do more than our white counterparts. So I always want to start with that. So for me, in founding Women of Color Unite, one of the ways that I notice that a lot of the white female-run groups in Hollywood, when I talk about pushing us to the margin, is to charge people, right? We don't charge for anything that we do. Nothing. And
that's true.
I don't charge for shit. Girl, I don't charge for shit. I don't charge. We don't charge for events. We don't charge for our program.
And not only that, people expect us not to charge. I don't mind. I donate my services all the time to nonprofit. If it's something I believe in, and even, something I want to support, I do. But people just have that expectation. You're going to show up. You're going to work for free. You're going to give what you do for a living freely. And I guess God's going to pay your rent.
Yeah. So, and I have had people who are like, Cheryl, you should charge. But here is what I remember, right? Because I moved to Los Angeles in 1990, graduated from AFI in 1993, that a lot that happened in those rooms, I could not afford to go to.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So my friend, Tracy Twinkie Bird, the casting director, and she's also a director and producer.
Yeah, she's
she
awesome.
Always says she always says that your net worth is your net worth. And it is so incredibly true. And what I wanted to do was to create spaces in which people could get into and network and not be broke or not try to figure out how I'm going to pay my cell phone bill and this. So, yeah, I totally understand that a lot of people expect us to do stuff for free. But I will say that you have to balance that with the idea that we always had to pay for these rooms, right? But to get into that, we had to make some harder choices because we make less money.
Right.
So that was one of the ideas that I had. And let me be perfectly honest. WOCU has yet to pay me back the $60,000 I have put out of my own pocket out of the first 4 or 5 years.
To get the nonprofit on its feet. Yeah.
Yeah, and to do all of these. I paid for our first gala. That came straight out of my pocket. There are a lot of things that I just basically sucked up. And I'm like, well, somebody's got to do it, right? Now we do get in enough donations, like and this is what I tell people. If you feel like you have gotten something out of belonging to our group, donate.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not asking you to donate. Just come into our group, see if you get anything out of it, and then donate. So I will say this. Those donations make it so that I don't have to put any money out of my pocket. But none of my staff gets paid. Everybody is volunteer. I'm volunteer. Everybody is volunteer.
Women of color.
And I hope that one day,
Go ahead.
yeah, and I hope that one day that we do. But when you look at the statistics of, and even when we get grants, there's within that report, it's like the average grant is $30,000, but we only get 15. Like it's not set up for us. And so one of the things that I think we should do, especially as we know that we've seen what happened with the Fearless Fund, make no mistakes, nonprofits are next.
Oh,
right?
yeah. I mean, and that's
after
clear because they've already attempted twice to pass this legislation that would allow the Department of Treasury to just take away the nonprofit status of anybody that the president or the administration deems to be a so-called terrorist organization, i.e. anybody doing anything for black people. So you're right. It's clear that nonprofits are next.
We need to become, especially in those blue states, we need to become a line item in the California budget.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
That's what really needs to happen to protect us. There's my group. There's Londi Maduro at Women of Color Filmmakers. There are so many other groups out here that you guys may not have heard of who are actually doing the work. And we need to indemnify all of these nonprofits. And it really just doesn't take that much money, right? When we look at money that we spend for other things, to be able so that we can continue to do the work, so that we can continue to make sure that what goes out in the world, because let us not be mistaken, content, film, television is king and queen when it comes to how people perceive us and how we perceive ourselves.
So Women of Color Unite is her organization, and it says on your website the mission is to facilitate fair hiring practices, foster a more inclusive and diverse workplace environment, might need to change that language, promote access for excluded content creators, expand audiences, raise funds for the organization to produce its own content, to hold events and seminars and workshops, work with additional organizations, and help companies incubate talent. It's also something really interesting that you have here is this JTC list. Talk about that.
So we actually start off as a JTC list. That came first. So in February of 2018, I borrowed my friend, Kelly Perrine, the actor. I borrowed his house because all I wanted to do was to get in the same room all of the women of color that I knew, and they could invite other women of color. So 50 turned into 75. Imagine my surprise when 150 showed up. So thank you, Kelly Perrine, for lending me the house. And that was, I knew I wanted to do something So we actually started the JTC list first. And the JTC list is the database of women above and below the line. So when you join Women of Color Unite, you are automatically added to that database. And that database is used to hire people, specifically women of color, non-binary people of color across the industry. That came first. The JTC list is actually named after my mother, Joan Teresa Curtis. My mom was an activist and passed away in February of 2016. So I named it after her. We grew so fast that in 2018, we knew that by the end of the year, we had to become a nonprofit. And so we got the name from that very first invitation, that February of 2018, to come join us at Kelly's house, that Women of Color ... Unite. And that is where we got the name from. So the JTC list is a database that is still shared within the entertainment industry to hire above and below the line. Above the line meaning actors, directors, producers, writers. Below the line meaning the crew. And and then we became Women of Color Unite.
Talking with Cheryl Bedford. She's the founder of that organization. We'll continue the conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
KBLA Talk 1580 stands with you, neighbor to neighbor, bringing you resources and what you need to know. Sign up for Notify LA on your phone to get fire danger alerts and updates, or check on lafd.org. The Watch Duty app is free and provides wildfire maps and updates in real time. Keep your gas tank full and plan your route in case you have to leave the area. City and county officials are urging you to pack a go bag so you can be ready to leave your home quickly in case of an evacuation order. Your go bag should include a couple of days of clothing, copies of your important documents and ID, money, insurance information, your medications, electronic devices, batteries, chargers, a small radio, and emergency contacts. If you receive an evacuation order, gather your loved ones, grab your bag, your pet food, and leave immediately. For information on shelters for your pets or even your family, call 211 for the City of Los Angeles and 311 countywide. Wearing a mask outside will help protect you from smoke, toxic fume, and particulate matter. If you don't need to go out, it's best to stay home with the windows closed. Getting to know your neighbors is a great way to stay safe, stay connected, and share resources. And Angelinos are stepping up to help, so reach out and find the assistance you need. Mutual Aid LA Network is constantly updating a Google Sheet with mutual aid resources. You can find it at tiny.cc-malan-fire. The earlier you make a plan, the better off you'll be when every second counts. Praying for LA, preparing, and standing with you. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you that we keep us safe. Every girl deserves a chance to shine. That's the belief behind Forgiving for Living, Inc. Since 1999, this organization has been empowering at-risk girls ages 13 to 18, helping them overcome behavioral and mental health challenges. Founder Wendy Gladney's personal journey inspired the mission to give girls hope and purpose through the power of forgiveness. Through their ambassador program, workshops, and annual conference, Forgiving for Living has touched over 3,000 young lives, providing mentoring, life skills, training, and tools for building self-esteem and confidence. You can make a difference. Visit forgivingforliving.org to donate, volunteer, become a mentor, or find help for a young girl in need. Forgiving for Living, Inc., building brighter futures for young girls. Visit forgivingforliving.org today. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a Black and Brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Cheryl Bedford, founder of Women of Color Unite, has been my guest this hour. And, you know, this is really important work. So thank you for all the work that you're doing. By the way, family, next time you hear my voice, I'll be in Altadena, Pasadena at the Pasadena Church East Campus at 425 Sierra Madre Villa. And I'll be there from 6 to 9 tomorrow. We'll probably be hanging out a little bit after. So join me there if you can. And if you would like to, I'd love to see you there. So how can we support the work that you're doing? And by the way, I love the idea of the JTC list, having all these people working in every aspect of the business, not just on the camera, not just, you know, in front, not just in front of the mic, but also the below the line, all those other jobs that we definitely need to get more representation in. So how do we support the work that you're doing? I mean, certainly studios can't say they don't know where to find people when there's a list like this.
And I always tell people, donate, volunteer when we have events. Though I will say, the reason we have been able to survive 7 years, well, it'll be 7 years in February, is the one thing that I don't think people counted on was we actually built a community. We are not just an organization. We are on our own app. We have over 5,000 of us are actually on the app who chose to join the app. We have an entire, of all of us, chat. We actually built a community. And so I would just say to people, donate, volunteer. And I just want to say, and not just for me, because I do know, there's Tai Chi Charity and Kids in the Spotlight. Again, Lonnie Maduro and Women of Color filmmakers. We're out here doing the work. If you want to invest in kids, I would say, Tai Chi Charity and Kids in the Spotlight. Londi, a Women of Color filmmaker, she does the classes like writing circles, directing classes, all of that. We all tend to stay in our own lanes. And so whatever it is that you have a passion for, please donate, especially to these Black women and other women of color, because we are doing the work. We are expected to do more than than people even realize. And we get such little funding. The other thing I want to do is say support our work. So real quickly, I just want to give a shout out to the number one show in the world, Cross. For those who haven't watched, it is the creator and showrunner is my friend Ben Watkins. I produced his second short film known in over 20 some odd years. And I'm the producer for the bonus content for
nice.
Cross. And
it stars
and
one of the finest men in the world.
Oh God, Aldous
Hodge.
Yeah.
Aldous. Who also happens to be a fine actor, by the way, not just fine to look at.
Yeah.
He's also very talented.
He is extremely talented. Can I say, and really, really nice as well? So right now, I'm waiting to hear. We put in a request for a panel for the Pan-African Film Festival with us, Women of Color Unite, and Blue Monday Productions. That's Ben's company. So we'll see if we're accepted, and if so, we're going to do it with some of the Cross people and some of the bonus content for Cross. So it should be really exciting. So keep your fingers crossed. And Dominique, I will absolutely invite you to that.
And we can watch that. We watch that on Amazon Prime, right? That's where it is.
Exactly. That's where you can watch it. And I just want to say that's where the that's what I mean when I say content can change how people view us as a people. And one of the things that I've heard from a lot of Black men is the relationship between Aldous and Isaiah on the show. And because we don't see that a lot, the bonding of Black men and Black men best friends. It's just not something that is seen. And I've heard from so many Black men that they felt seen in that. And I'm talking about Cross because, I'm going to give it a shameless plug, but also because Ben is a Black man who's out here doing it, understands, and it's wrapped up in, the series Cross, right? So there is a way to deliver wonderful content that can actually change perceptions, where people can actually feel seen, right? And it's diverse in front of and obviously behind the camera. So it can be done, and please support those creators who are out there doing the work.
We just have like another minute here. Do you ever regret tearing up that piece of paper?
Never. It was one of the best things I ever did. And shout out to my mama, who was an activist growing up. And she said, and I'm going to leave it at this. My mother said, never let them, meaning white supremacy, the system, divide you from your people, ever.
Yeah, it's a great...
And I won't.
It's a great slogan to live by, or motto to live by. It's WOCUnite.org, and we can find you, I remember, on socials at WOCUnite.org, or your personal, I am Cheryl _CLBP. Thank you so much for being...
Just Cheryl.
Oh, just Cheryl? Not I am?
Yeah, Cheryl _CLBP across all social.
Okay, great. Well, it's really nice to meet you, and thank you for all the amazing work that you're doing. I believe you're going to be working even harder as we rebuild and recover and bounce back from this disaster that we're living through right now.
And thank you for the work that you're doing and bringing a spotlight to all of the organizations and the work that needs to be done. I really, really appreciate you, my sister.
Thank you. It's my joy and my privilege to do so. I think that's why we have these microphones. And I'm blessed to work for a Black owner of Black-owned media, Tavis Smiley, who believes the same. So we'll see you all tomorrow in Altadena, Pasadena. Tavis Smiley's got an incredible show. He's on a roll this week. Smokey Robinson yesterday. Who knows what he's got for you today? That's up next. Please tap in with me on all social media, and I'll keep you posted on to whatever's going on tomorrow. We're going to stream as much of it as we can as well. We are at KBLA 1580 across all socials. And you can find me at DiPrima Radio, DiPrima Radio. Since it's his real birthday, I'm leaving you with an MLK quote. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. History is now, and we're making it together. Until tomorrow, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. The Los Angeles wildfire's death toll has risen to at least 25. The Palisades fire has claimed 9 lives, and the Eaton fire around Altadena has caused 16 deaths. Senators continue questioning President-elect Trump's cabinet picks. Pam Bondi, former Florida Attorney General, is up for Attorney General, and Senator Marco Rubio is up for Secretary of State. Former First Lady Michelle Obama will not attend